Hello, everybody. It's Bernadette, Simply Be Art, and a warm welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. I'm doing a bloom again on a 30 by 40 centimeter canvas. I'm just experimenting with a lot less base paint today. So I'm only using about 3/4 of a cup of paint, stretching it out as thin as I can get on the canvas. I'm trying to use less base paint and seeing if I can get the same results. So I've mixed up the white base. It's a Durham wall sheen, and I've added some of my Dutch ball mix to it. So it's a mixture of house paint as well as the Dutch ball mix with the glue and water. So I'm going to put the ratios down in the description box below. So go and check it out if you want to use the new mix. So blowing out the base color, I've used a storm gray and a yellow. Just blowing out the background for the blooms, and my blooms are going to be some turquoise, iridescent and metallic turquoise together with the pearl white, but I'll also list that colors on the screen for you as I go along, so you can also follow along with the colors. So spreading out the blooms now, filling up the white pillow with some color as for the background, and then I'm going to give it a nice spin to spread out the color over the sides of the canvas, making sure that the sides also get covered. My blow dryer is an 1800 watt, and I use it on a cool air. I don't use the warm setting because the paints, I don't want the paints to start drying too soon, so I use it on the cool setting. I've given it a spin and I still have some canvas showing, so I'm picking up some of the paint that's still left in the container, and I'm using a spoon to scoop that out, just covering the edges. So I'm coming in with some color now, and this first color is a deep turquoise, which will be followed by a malachite. This is an iridescent turquoise. I'm using local brands, so my colors are from Iris, from Zalcraft, from Darla, from Bastion. They're all brands that are made locally in South Africa. I'm using the cell activator in a black and a white. And I first spread the cell activator over the colors with my blow dryer on a low speed, and then I switch over to a higher speed in order to move the color across the background. So spreading the color and creating some petal shapes now with the blow dryer, and at the same time I'm spreading the cells and creating some beautiful lines and lacing. I'm going to use a skewer stick, and I'm defining the petals with a skewer stick, just finding the natural indents along the edges of that bloom blowout, pulling the white paint from the outside to the middle, to the center, and creating some definition. So I always have the skewer stick handy. tilting the canvas, just working on composition. I'm giving you a close-up view so you can see those beautiful cells in the center. Now I'm stepping back and I'm having a look, and I'm twisting and turning the turntable or the spinner below the canvas just to get a closer view. And I need to determine the next steps. Do I want another bloom, or am I satisfied with the painting thus far? It's beautiful as it is, but I feel that it needs something more. There is some negative space that is a bit off and not well balanced, and so I would like to cover that space with a tiny bloom. And this time you will notice that I huffed a little bit with my breath, blew it with my breath and not the hairdryer, because the hairdryer would have been too powerful for such a tiny little bloom in that top corner. So it's okay to also use your breath on this canvas. I'm going to add another bloom just for composition and for balance in my painting. And I'm laying down the colors in the same order as I did for the big bloom as well as the other tiny one. So once again, I had blown with my breath. And what I'm doing now, I'm lifting some paint onto the tip of my skewer stick, and I'm running that color along the edges of the big bloom. And what that does, it creates, it helps me to almost lift that bloom off the canvas. It gives the illusion of the bloom standing up, if you get what I'm trying to illustrate here. So the darker edges creates a shadow, and that shadow gives the painting depth. So it appears as though the bloom is almost standing up from the background. And it just creates such a beautiful illusion of depth and 3D. And you can do that with the dark shade in your palette. So the deep turquoise is the color that I'm lifting up from the container onto the tip of my skewer, and then I am, edging the bloom with that same color. So I'm letting it fall off the tip of my skewer stick, and I'm pulling it and shading the edges of that big bloom, the big one. Still working on those tiny blooms. I'm going to add another tiny bloom to this canvas. So as I'm looking at the painting, there are some decisions that needs to be made, and you have to do this as well when you're busy with your canvas. Have a look at it. If you're not satisfied, if it's not visually pleasing, then continue to work with your canvas. The paint is still wet and you still have time to add more blooms if you want to add more blooms. And so once again, I'm blowing with my breath and then defining the petals with a skewer as I did with all the others. And then I'm going to bring you down for your close-up, because now I've got 5 blooms on my canvas and I am happy with the outcome. So a lovely close-up view for you again, and that's the final results. Thank you everyone for stopping by my channel. Please remember to subscribe and join my pouring family. Until the next video, bye for now.